See, I had a friend, she was sexually abused at the age of 11. You know, when your innocence is robbed in such a violent way at such a young age, it's really, really tough to recover. And you're going to spend really almost the rest of your life trying to kind of put the pieces back together. You know, and in the course of putting the pieces back together, you've gone through 25 relationships. You've gone through 25 different career options. You know, and in the end, you kind of sit back, you're old, you're tired, you look at your life, you have everything. You have a Mercedes-Benz, but there is no companion in the passenger side. You don't really know where to take the car or where the car should take you. You don't have fun anywhere anymore. And then you say, really, I did all of this for what? Nothing, this poverty? Okay. And remember, the more mature your set of advertisements in your life, the longer shelf life they're going to have. See, if you go out with Alex, for example, we'll get, you know, if you go out with Alex, he's 17. What's the root of a 17-year-old tree? It's not that much. You can also go out with me. My roots are about 60 years old. And I also come from a culture that's about 4,000 years old. And my roots and my culture roots, they're very, very, very intimate. And you know what that means? My shelf life is going to be much, much longer than Alex's. See, Alex will invite you to a party where you'll drink and you'll smoke and you'll watch a movie and you'll laugh about stupid things. If you come to my house, we're going to go to the back room and we're going to sit and we're going to talk, or maybe not talk at all. I'm going to have you do some things, work in the backyard, and I'm going to come to the backyard. And you're going to ask questions, and I'm going to respond to your questions. And you're going to be aroused, the curiosity. You're going to be curious. You're going to be interested. You're going to leave with a good amount of questions. Which means what? If you take the bait, I'm going to have this carrot dangling in front of your face for the next 20, 30 years. And do you know what happens when you keep chasing the carrot I give you? You're going to get your PhD. You know what that PhD is going to give you? Power. You know what you're going to do with that power? And with a mind that's organized and knows how to think well? You're going to have a very organized life. What is he going to do? He's going to waste your time. You think at my age I'm going to allow you to waste my time? When I had sex with Julie in the back seat of my truck, was my intentions to have children or to have a child or just to have an orgasm? Which one is it? Because that will tell you what I'm ready for. Yes. There you go. That's the first thing you need to know about me. At the age of 18, I don't have the maturity to be a father. I don't even have the maturity to look at the relationship the right way. I don't even have the maturity to look at why I like her. All I know is I'm a man, okay? Something about me says go, I go. We have sex and that's it. Now I am hit with the news. You're going to be a father. You think I'm ready for that? You know I'm only 18, right? I want to travel the world. I wanted to have sex to be free of this thing inside me like a pharaoh that says, Amir, she's attractive, have sex with her. Do you know what happens when your need for sex just goes up in volume? You're held in bondage. You're a hostage to this desire until you're satisfied. Who's my Moses in this scenario? This woman. How do I find liberation? By having an orgasm. I didn't want to get stuck in that. I want freedom. Now she hits me with this news, you're going to be a father. What's going to happen to my dreams? And I'm not even going to talk about the addictions I may have had prior to meeting Jacqueline. Maybe I like to drink all the time. Maybe I like to smoke all the time. Maybe I like to hang out with my loser friends all the time. Maybe I'm just a loser, period, because I myself didn't have parents. And remember, kids are like copy machines. What they see is what they express. Now, now that I have been told that I'm going to be a father, what am I going to do? The first thing you need to understand is this. None of us do well with this. Truth does not set you free. If you want truth to set you free, you have to wait for about 20 years. Until that day comes, you're going to have a great amount of struggle within. Conflict, anger, resentment, violence, inwardly or outwardly. Initially, reality or truth is not going to set you free. Why? Because this is reality and this is fantasy. I want to travel the world. I want to sit and read books. I want to hang out with my friends. This is called pleasure. This is called pain. This is called freedom. This is called being in bondage. So just in case you wonder why I don't walk into this reality smoothly, comfortably, is because the fantasy opposes it. I don't want to have the responsibility of being with a woman I only spend 5 hours with and a child that I didn't want. What am I going to do now? I'm going to try to do the best I can by saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to put my fantasy on the cross. I'm going to crucify them, all of them. Because I don't want to be like my dad, who was never around. I want to be the best father I can for this kid and this woman. Now, here's what you need to know about fantasy. You're walking, you see someone having a slice of Zachary's pizza, and you say, I want to have Zachary's. And then you begin to fantasize and daydream. You're going to go there, you're going to order a Caesar salad and a small deep dish pizza, and you're going to patiently wait, and you will text your friends while you're waiting for the pizza to come to your table. It's a great story to have. Then you put your hand in your pocket and you realize you have zero money. So I'm going to start with this fantasy. I'm going to be the best father and the best husband. It's a great story. Do I have the resources? What do a woman and a child need? They need a 1 or a 2 or a 3 bedroom or a house. Do I have that? The answer is no. Do I have money? The answer is no. Kids, you're going to spend about $200 a week for formula and diapers. Okay? Now, and this woman, she is the Messiah of this newborn. Now, let's just say she's clean and sober. No drug issues, no alcohol issues, no parental issues. She's relatively clean. She wants to take care of this. Here's the problem. You're a piece of crap as a man. You have a great amount of stories, and they're great stories, man. They're like the gospel stories. But in reality, you don't have the resources to make those stories come true. Did you sign up for this class to keep missing classes? Of course not. You signed up for this class saying, this semester, I'm going to keep myself in school, do all the assignments for all my classes. I'm not going to fail like the previous semesters. That's a great story. New semester comes about, what happens? You go back to being who you've always been. It's not about you, I'm just saying. Okay? Now, I drop out of school. I get rid of my friends. Now I work about 10 hours a day. $20 an hour. That's about, let's just say, $800 a week. After taxes, about $650. Times 4, it's about $3,000, let's just say. Rent is about $1,800. Utilities, food and all stuff, $1,000. Kid, $1,000. What do I got to do on the side? How much pressure can I take? Now remember, you're a newborn. You have no idea what the hell is happening. Okay? You're trying to get the gas out of your stomach because you've just had drink some milk. You're just trying to sit up in your bed. You're just learning how to stand, how to walk, how to run. You got no idea what money is. You got no idea what rent is. You got no idea what it means to be exploited by Home Depot on a daily basis. You have no idea what it means to be 18 and putting every single passion that you've ever had in your life on the cross and watching it get buried. You don't know the pressure that lives inside your mom or your dad. But here's the thing. Go back to Sigmund Freud. Human beings are like a volcano. Especially if they have not been socialized well. They will explode. There comes a point. This man, I have tried the best I could, given my emotional, social, intellectual poverties. There comes a point where I look at this woman and say, I never wanted to be with you. I never wanted to be a father. And now that I have the experience, I'm not made for this. She has to figure out what they'll to do now. He has to figure out what they'll to do now. He spoke from anger. And he's going to go for a walk, come back and say, I'm sorry. The truth is, that's the truth of it. He's not ready for any of this. But what the hell is he going to do with this? And what the hell is he going to do for this? He sees sadness on her face, and this thing down here is in shock. Okay? Now, I'm going to go out for a walk. I'm going to be filled with guilt and anger all towards myself. I'm going to go back and apologize. And how long do you think I can keep myself from exploding again? There comes a point. Now remember, it's not about you at all. It is not about you. It's all about two people pretending to be adults. And you and I are no longer living at an age where your parents can take care of you financially, physically, emotionally. We don't live in like a village where everybody knows everybody, everybody helps out everybody. All of us live on an island, separated from all the other islands. It's a very, very lonely culture, isolated culture, fragmented culture. Okay? Russell.
I would just like to add, on top of all of that, all of those stressors and stuff like that, each person has to take on other people's baggage, so like they'll have to. She's not ready, just like you're not. Reality sucks.
Yeah, there is a story. It comes from the Sufi tradition. I won't tell you what it is. It's a branch that comes out of Islam, where this young man looks at this old man and says, why aren't you married? And the old man says, I'm so occupied with trying to figure out what the Satan that lives inside me is doing on a daily basis, that the idea of getting married and dealing with another person's Satan is a bit too much for me. So I just remain single, only to deal with my own garbage. I have no patience and no stamina, no capacity to carry on others. You know? Which is very, very, very true. Now, remember, you're the innocent bystander here. You came into this life, no one was asking you. No one asked your permission. It's what we call collateral damage. You are the product of sex. There was no reflection in having you. There was no maturity behind having you. Nothing. I was moved by passion. Very simple. You are its outcome. Now,
that fantasy and reality, for the most part, you have the honeymoon stage, which is fantasy. Like, you have a relationship where you have even the kids and stuff like that. You have like a certain what they call honeymoon stage, and then reality kicks in, and you're like, I hate reality this, but you say that it was that person's fault for not realizing that reality will come in. And how would you tell that? How would you tell someone to transfer from fantasy to reality? Does that make sense? Like,
you can't. You can't give anything to anyone who's not ready to receive it. And this has been tried over and over and over again in history. What exactly is it? If you were to go back in time and look at some of the giants, or even look at some of the things that your parents have told you in the past. You take someone home, your parents say this is not the right person for you. What do? You do exactly the opposite of their recommendation. You continue going out with the person. Your parents keep telling you, stay in school, you drop out. Your parents say, don't hang out with this person, you do. Your parents say, don't drink, you do. Don't smoke, you do. Don't get married, you do. And in the end, who pays the price? You do. And I mean, these are just like simple things of life. The bigger things of life, kind of like if you were to go back to say someone like Malcolm X or Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther or Jesus Christ or Muhammad, I mean, their life was disastrous because they tried to tell people certain things, but people are not ready. Look, it's a great question. It's a great question. The first thing that you need to kind of figure out when someone asks, say, like a question about abandonment is, do you understand what this is? Have you looked at the emotions that this creates? Are you really interested? I mean, are you a customer? Are you just window shopping? See, her question is great. The problem is this, and forgive me, I may be assuming, she may be window shopping. She may not really be a customer because a customer walks into the store with cash. And when you have cash, you know what you want and you have purchasing power. Someone who window shops either is because they don't really want it, they're bored, they just want to go around and look at things, or they really want things, they can't buy it because they don't have any money, but they want to look at them. Okay? Now, to become a customer, you need to have the need inside you. And how will you have the need? Pain. Why do you have the pain? Because every day when you wake up, this looks at you. Now, why this looks at you? Because either inwardly or outwardly, you have certain components in your life that when you wake up, they knock on your door and say, I'm here. You haven't gotten rid of me yet. It means that it matters very little where you go. This shadow is always following you. Now, here's the thing you need to know about pain that's connected to abandonment. You know when relationships are bad, what we do is we break up and we walk away. We don't want to work at it. Sometimes it's really, really good. If you're going out with an alcoholic, break it off. Don't waste your time. Don't try to be the Messiah. Value your time, value your youth, value your energy. Okay? Unless it's like a father or a mother or an aunt or this, then you love him. That's a different story. Okay? In a romantic relationships, okay, sometimes it proves to be just a bit too much, especially if kids are involved. Now, if this is knocking on your door on a daily basis and it creates a good amount of pain inside you, the problem with pain is this. When you come to class, you can't focus. When you go on your romantic relationship outside, you can't focus. When you're sitting trying to do work, you can't focus. That's what pain does. Now, you have a couple of options. You either say, okay, I want to understand this. Or you say, you know what? I'm going to smoke it away. I'm going to drink it away. I'm going to sex it away. I'm going to movie it away. And then what you do is you're basically saying, I'm breaking up with this thing called pain. And the moment you break up with it, you don't see it. And when you don't see it, you don't need it. And this goes away. Now, here's the thing you need to understand. If you have problems on the outside, you could always relocate. If you don't like Oakland because of its violence and crime and trash and smell, it's got some good things. You can pack up and move to Roseville or Montclair. If on the other hand, there is a saying that if you want to go to France, but if you don't take France with you, you won't find it when you go there. In other words, if you have had abandonment issues, it doesn't matter where you go. This planet, another planet, sun, moon, Pluto, none of those things matter. You're always going to carry this with you. And this is going to walk into every single one of your relationships, and it's going to destroy it. Add to it, God forbid, if this has remained unresolved, and by chance you fall for someone, you will expect this person to fulfill everything that has remained unfulfilled inside you. You want this Messiah, this person to be the Messiah. And he will try for a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year, 2 years. Eventually, you will force him to break. And then he will disappoint you. And then you say, I knew it. So if there are issues on the inside, they're never going to go away unless you resolve them. And the only way you can resolve them is by look at it right in the face and allow it to create whatever pain it wants to create. And you gotta be mature enough to handle it. Now, have you ever seen, this is the form, the frame. Now, concrete is poured and it's soft. Have you ever walked by a driveway, for example, or the street, the sidewalk, and you see like a handprint? Do you know how this handprint was created? They poured the concrete in this frame. It was still soft. Not too soft, but soft enough. And someone goes and puts their hand and presses it down. Now you have this handprint inside this frame. And here's the thing you need to understand. As long as this concrete is there, you will see the handprint. When you're a 2-year-old, nothing about you is formed. Nothing about you is hardened. Which means that whatever damage is imposed upon you is going to stay there, like the handprint. Now you gotta love yourself, man. You gotta love yourself a great deal to be able to figure out how to get rid of this. Because if you don't love yourself, that's gonna stay. And you know what I mean by loving yourself? You go to Home Depot, you grab one of those concrete saws, you cut this part out, and you pour concrete. And the handprint will go away. Now, so when you say, or anybody says, like, I was 2, okay, what do 2-year-olds need? Go to Abraham Maslow. This is a 2-year-old. Food. I hope you get a good mom who's not addicted to drugs or alcohol. So when she nurses you, the milk is good. And I hope that when you come out of your mom, your body is healthy enough to digest the milk properly. Okay? And I hope that when you have eaten the food, there is enough love and care so that when the milk is inside you, what happens when infants are given milk? You get gas. That she's your mom or your dad, they're sober enough, love you enough, care for you enough, where they pick you up, hold you, tap you on your back so that the gas can be released so you could sleep for 5-6 hours. So remember, food, love and care. And I hope they give you a home, a resting place. If it's hot, you can feel cold. The temperature, I mean, so it doesn't hurt your flesh. If it's cold, the heater is on. And once in a while, when you open your eyes, your mom or your dad are right there. What kids need is consistency, food, love and care, and a shelter. Okay? These are the most basic things that kids want. Now, this does not mean that parents at times don't go nuts. Because kids are frustrating. They're unpredictable. You know, Russell and I know. You want to put them to sleep, they won't sleep. And he said, God damn it, why don't you just sleep for 10 minutes, leave me alone. You love him, but sometimes it happens. Okay? The other thing you need to understand is the science of the human brain. When you're young, your frontal lobe is not yet developed, which means that you can't really process experiences well. Okay? So when your father screams, there is a shock, but you have no desire to understand why he's screaming. That part of you is not yet built. You don't have the wiring for that. Since we're running out of time, let me just end our conversation by saying this. When someone says, I feel abandonment, you're not talking about someone's physical body being abandoned. What you're saying is, inside my body lives a set of emotions. Those emotions have been left unsatisfied. And it goes back all the way to 2 years of age. The thing that happens is this. As you go through life, this 2-year-old body becomes 10, then it becomes 20, then it becomes 25. Your physical body has grown to be 25. And this physical body lives in society, which means that you get exposed to certain things that society is there to give you. On an emotional level, when it comes to love, care, shelter, because you never had those when you were 2, that part of you will always remain 2. Always. Unless you're willing to go back in time. And if you don't want to go back in time, you can do something different. Go into a relationship. And it better be a good relationship. You can't go out with a jerk. You can't go out with an idiot. Go out with someone who is mature and likes you for the right reason. And try for the first time to open up. Complete faith and trust. Go in. It's a shot in the dark. It may backfire, but it may also be a pleasant surprise. For the first time, this person at the age of 35 or 40 or 50 can give you what you didn't have. And little by little. Now, the thing is, you're not going to just go in full force, because what time has revealed for you is that you have tried to open up and trust, you've always felt betrayed. And so this, if it was a seed of mistrust or distrust at the age of 2, okay, now at the age of 25, it has become really, 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 really big. Because you keep replaying and rewinding and replaying. I can't trust. I can't trust. I can't have faith. And eventually you realize, yes, you have a lot of friends. You trust none of them. The most tragic, you will never be able to trust your own emotions and the way you think about relationships. Never. It's solvable. It is solvable. But it comes with a good amount of training. You should watch not the last Rambo, but the other one before that took place in Burma. And it's just the way he was making his knife. You have a raw piece of metal. He puts it in the fire, hammers the hell out of it, puts it into water, puts it back in the fire, hammers the hell out of it. You are raw. You are raw. What needs to happen, you got to be put in fire by someone who cares for you. It can be someone who's religious, someone who's a therapist. It doesn't really matter. I mean, that's how issues are resolved. You know, because it's never easy to be able to look at oneself in the mirror and see the horror that lives inside. It's doable. But again, you have to like the right parts of you enough to summon up the courage to walk into that world. And all this talk about spirituality, I think these days, if you know what your issues are, for example, that becomes your spiritual journey. Because they're all the same. You know, Jesus looking for God is no different than someone looking for parents they never had. It's the same, because they have to go through the same process, all of them. There's a desert life, there are moments of doubt, certainty, abandonment, betrayal. I mean, look at Christ on the cross. You'll feel all those things. But is it worth doing it? Absolutely. Why? You're 20. If you do this the right way, by the time you're 30, you will never get rid of this. You will never get rid of this. But instead of it writing you, you will write it. That's the only difference. See, you will never forget abandonment. That's not going to be possible. But right now, what you have is, if you look at a donkey and the person sitting on it, you're the donkey. And abandonment sits on you. It rides you. It destroys everything that you touch. When you go through the training, you sit on the abandonment. And you take it where you want it to go. Instead of it exploiting you, using you, abusing you, you will begin to use it in a way that's helpful to yourself and other people.